So I've been using this iPad Pro for almost 2 years now, and during that time I've actually been an iPad Pro user. And I'm not gonna lie, the experience was quite fun. And that was throughout 6 months of med school. Like, it was a super light, super compact setup. But over the years I've run into some issues, and since I've bought my M1 MacBook Pro, I haven't really looked back. So is the iPad Pro for med school actually worth it? Let's talk about it. So I'm sure many of us have come across the Samuel Suresh videos where he really does glorify the iPad. And I'm not gonna lie, it is very, very enticing to buy it on the spot after watching some of his videos. They are very good videos. I'll link him in the description. But he sort of made me want to handwrite notes. And I tried that. I tried it for like a day and it just took too long. It's far too inefficient. And to be honest, it didn't really have much of an effect on my learning. So what ended up happening was I downloaded Notion, created a spreadsheet, and my productivity increased probably by 2 or 3 times. Handwriting notes for med school didn't work for me. It just took far too long, and it meant I was spending so much time studying that I had no other time to do anything else. Because think about it, there's always work to do. And so if you're spending 2 or 3 hours on something that should take you 45 minutes to an hour, something's going wrong. Don't get it to draw stuff for anatomy. Why are you drawing stuff for anatomy? It's all drawn for you, you know? And you'll draw the brachial plexus 8 times before you get it right. Alright, so just copy and paste a picture off the internet, please, for my sake. Please. Another thing is that if someone shares their notes with you, there's a very good chance that they're going to be typed up notes. And if all of your stuff is handwritten in Notability or Good Notes or Apple Notes, transferring those typed up notes into a drawing app is just a pain. Like, you've got 2 different systems to deal with, unless you want to handwrite and copy everything out, but like, who's going to do that? It's just so much more efficient to be using a typed up system. Let's talk battery life. And it's quite fitting because this iPad was on 40% 2 days ago. I've opened it now and it's on 7%. Now, that could be because I use the Apple Smart Case, which does drain the battery, and people do know that. But the extent of the battery draining is quite significant. It's to the point where I can't really just leave the house with it on 50% and be stress-free. With my M1 MacBook Pro, which is docked here, I can leave the house on 30%, stay in the library for a couple of hours, go home, and probably not need to charge it. The battery life on that thing is crazy. There's been so many times where I've wanted to set up the iPad and start work, and what's happened is I've left it on 30%, I've left it on 40% for a couple of days, I wake it and it's dead. Like, that battery loss is absurd, and it's not like it's doing updates in the background or anything. I'm literally just leaving it. So when I compare the iPad to the Mac, it's a bit of a no-brainer in terms of battery life. It's almost 18 to 20 hours on this MacBook. On the iPad, I get probably about, I'd like 3.5 hours of solid work, and then I have to plug it in. Okay, linked with the battery life is the overheating problems. Now, this is a problem I didn't think I'd even have at all, but I've had this problem. When having the iPad charging and using Notability, this drawing app, it gets so hot. It gets too hot for me to rest my palm on, to the point where it's uncomfortable and I have to take a break or unplug it or do something else, or even just straight up start typing. And that basically completely voids the point of the iPad. The whole point of the iPad is to draw on it with the Apple Pencil. If I'm now typing on it, there's no reason for me to have this instead of having my laptop. And the thing is, it's not like I'm doing anything intensive. This is literally what the iPad is made for. Now, these experiences might be exclusive to my model, which is not the M1 version. So if you have the M1 version, you might not experience these sort of problems, because the M1 chip is insanely efficient. That's the one in my MacBook, and it's crazy fast. But obviously not everyone wants to splash out that sort of money on the brand new model. Okay, the next point. Files is trash. There's nothing else to say. It's trying to be Finder, but it's not Finder. And it's trying to be different from Finder, but it's too different from Finder. It's just the worst file organizing solution I've ever seen. You save something and you have no idea where it goes, and then 6 months later you randomly find it and you're like, well, I don't need this anymore. This is a point of the iPad that I don't think anyone really touches on. I'm setting this up as if you have £1,000. You can either buy a high-spec iPad, or you can buy an M1 or an M2 MacBook. Future-proof yourself in case you want to do other things. And I don't think many people really think about this. The iPad is great because it has a lot of power in a small form factor. but it doesn't have the tools yet to use that power. There are so many side hustles that a MacBook allows you to do that an iPad just isn't quite there yet. Video editing, coding, motion design, streaming, even gaming. I didn't want to say gaming, but the new iPads, they have the power, but they don't have the tools to do all these other side hustles. Because of my Mac and not my iPad, I was able to edit this video and basically every other video on my YouTube channel. Right, mate, just editing this video. It's like magic, really. No, it's not really magic, is it? It's just me flipping holding the camera. I edited my Skillshare class on my MacBook. I was teaching piano lessons on Zoom through my Mac. These things would not have been possible if I only had the iPad. There's a 5% battery left. Right, I have slated the iPad quite heavily, but here are some things that I actually like about it. One of those things is being able to make thumbnails and digital art. Every thumbnail on my channel has been made on the iPad using Procreate, and it's a very nice experience. It's snappy, responsive, intuitive. It's actually fun. It's very fun. So if you're a digital artist and your side hustle is like graphic design and animation, then the iPad is actually a very good buy for you. But unfortunately, that's not where my expertise lies, if I have any expertise at all really. What I use the iPad for mainly is glorified paper, and it pains me to say that. And the problem is, I know a lot of other people at med school have iPads and use them for exactly the same reasons. It's just a recalling tablet. It's for you to write down things and remember things. But what that does mean is that studying becomes a lot more fun. And if you can make studying even slightly more fun, then it can potentially be worth the investment. If you're looking at an investment of enjoyment rather than money and monetary gain. Because in med school, you're going to be studying every day, and during exam season, you're going to have long intensive study sessions. So anything that can slightly reduce friction or anything that can make it slightly more enjoyable is probably a good investment. But if we're talking money now and return on investment monetarily, I've probably made no money back on the iPad, and I've probably made double or triple the amount of money back using my MacBook through video editing, through making Skillshare classes, through teaching piano as well. Honestly, it depends what you're looking for. If you want a fun device that's quick, snappy, and gets the job done, the iPad is for you. But if you're looking at purely a return on investment point of view and future-proofing yourself, I'd go with the MacBook any day. And honestly, the build quality, the features of this thing, and just how it feels in the hand is actually incredible. It's a really nice device, but when you compare it to a MacBook, there's not a lot of use that you can get out of it. So it is a great device. It's just in my use case, the MacBook has been much more valuable than the iPad. And honestly, I think I could have gone without the iPad. But at the end of the day, if you want this device, get it. You're going to have fun with it, you're going to like it, and you probably won't regret it. And hopefully you will get a lot of use out of it. I just kind of made this video to tackle, I think, a lot of the misinformation about the iPad for med school. Everyone sort of makes it out as if it's the be-all and end-all device. You don't need a laptop, you only need an iPad. But nowadays med students are changing. Med students are becoming a lot more business-minded and are much more open to doing other side hustles and other things alongside medicine. And I just don't think the iPad at the moment can allow you to do that. Will it get there one day? Hopefully. I mean, I think there are some video editing apps like Luma and such for the iPad, but still there's the issue of the I/O. There aren't enough ports on this thing. There's one USB-C port, and thankfully it's USB-C and it's not lightning like the iPhone. But at the moment, I just don't think the software and the I/O is there on the iPad. Hopefully that wraps this up for you and you gain something from my rambling. Let me know what you think in the comments. Drop any suggestions, I'll try to get around to filming them. And yeah, I think that wraps this up. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.